What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start this show by being transparent. We didn't do any shows over the weekend, and it's been New Year's, all that good stuff, so not a whole lot going on. But it is good to be back here. My year didn't start off so great. It's 2-3 so far, but we can clean that up easy. Vino, good to be back with you. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Skee. NBA, I took the day off yesterday. It was all NFL, slight NFL even because it was a weird week, week 18, and a couple of college basketballs. College basketball continues to be good. I think I'm number two over at WagerTalk since December 1. So we'll look to get back into the NBA groove here tonight. Fairly decent sized board. Some weird start times. Philly in an 8:40 game. A little weird at home, but TV, I guess, does that.
8:20? Is that what you said?
I saw 8:40.
Well, I guess yeah. For you guys, time that is late for a game. We have games all night over here on the West Coast.
I know.
All right, let's get to it. First game up, we have Knicks and Pistons. Opened up -1.5 for the Knicks. Looks like it's all over the place. I see Detroit a 1 some places, pick 'em some places, +1 some places. So just line shot depending on which side you like there. The total opened 236, down to about 232.5 everywhere. We have Cade, Duncan Robinson, both probable. Looks like Levert is questionable. Duran and Tobias Harris look like they're both out. For the Knicks, Josh Hart and Shaman are both out. Um, the first thing that comes to my mind in this game is I think I would trust more defense than anything. I would agree with the market pushing this game down on the total. And yeah, I mean, that's really the only way I feel about this game. I don't like New York on the road. We know they've been much better at home. But yeah, just a lower scoring game for me is what I'm thinking here. Vino, anything from you?
Yeah, I had a slight lean to the Knicks. I thought the situation, Detroit back to backs, Knicks rested, ready for this game. No Jalen Duran always bothers me for Detroit. I just feel like he does so much work inside that the Knicks may be able to do some damage in there. So there was a slight lean for me towards New York. And obviously, the road hasn't been as good as the home. But um, standings wise, at this point in time, everybody chasing Detroit. Be a nice win
Yeah.
for the Knicks to get a game closer. Detroit holding on to that number one spot. So I don't know. Whenever they're without Jalen Duran, that does bother me. We see Detroit now getting money. I'm seeing the screen pop to Pick'ems now, and even Detroit -1 in some spots.
Yeah, this is a back-to-back for this Pistons team. Um, Pistons just played, who was it last night? They played the Cavs.
Cleveland, yeah.
Yeah, they got a W in that one last night. So the Knicks do have a rest advantage. It is still the third game and four for them. We'll see how this one shakes out. Next game, Vino, take a look at Chicago and Boston. Opened up -9 for Boston, as high as 11.5 now. Total, not a whole lot of movement. I just see Tatum out for Boston. For the Chicago side, Kobe White has been upgraded to probable. No Collins, Flowers, Giddy, or Smith. Um, taking a look. Oh, my bad here. Taking a look at the Celtics. They did. Who did they play last game? I know they won. I can't remember who they played for
Clippers.
the Clippers. Okay. Yeah, they blew them out like 140 something, 115. For the Bulls, coming off a loss as a favorite, so a chance for them to bounce back. Third game in 4 nights for them. I don't trust the Bulls at all. I don't. It's crazy you're getting double digits here, and I still can't trust them. Um, the Celtics, the big margins don't really bother me because the way they play, they're going to shoot a lot of threes. They're going to do the things you need them to do to win by big margins. So I just would continue to fade the Bulls, and the Celtics have been playing good basketball. So some way, shape, or form, I'd want to bet on the Celtics here. Vino, what do you think about it?
Yeah, what bothered me about Boston here laying this price ski was 5 game road trip, first game back home. Be their third game in the new year already. Seems like we just had New Year's Day, but it'll be Boston's third game since New Year's Day came. And again, it was a West Coast road trip. They're playing really well, so it's hard to bet against them. I'm showing 6-2 against the points last 8 games. They've been scoring well. I just think that that first game back always seems to come into play off of the extended road trip. So maybe the plus 11.5 look a little better to me than they do to you. But to the point about Chicago not being trustworthy, that's true too. I just feel like Boston's probably a little bit, a little fatigue factor maybe shows up here tonight. They've really closed the gap inside the division. I looked up this morning and saw Boston right on the Knicks' heels, and I'm like, how did that even happen? Boston was nowhere to be found a little while back, but they've been playing really well as of late.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get involved on this game. This next game, pretty interesting to me. I've kind of gone back and forth, and I've seen different openers. One side I saw say opener was 4.5. Another one I saw say it was -1. So I'm uncertain what the opener was here. But right now we have Toronto -2.5, and the total of 234, 234.5. For Atlanta, no Trey Young. Luke Kennard is questionable. For the Raptors, they'll have everybody except for Jakob Poeltl. Um, for this Hawks team, it is the third game in 4 nights for them. This Hawks team, they win without Trey Young. They lose when he's in. They play over games when he's in. Play under games when he's out. It seems pretty straightforward with the Hawks. This Raptors team, they do get RJ Barrett back in the lineup, and they need him because they were playing absolutely terrible without him. ATS wise, straight up wise, however you want to look at it. But I still just don't like the lack of Jakob Poeltl down there in the paint. So this one is tough for me. If I look at last 5 game stats, they tell me Toronto's been a better offense, defense, and rebounding team. They're at home. Why don't we take Toronto here, Rob Veno?
And they just mauled Atlanta. This is like a back to back here with a day in between, but 134, 117 Toronto. With, I think you mentioned this last time, RJ Barrett back, a little bit different. And without Trey Young, those splits are crazy, Skee. No Trey Young, you can bet Atlanta. With Trey Young, very difficult to bet Atlanta. I could see, from a situational standpoint, from a spot standpoint, where you might like Atlanta to bounce back after being beat by 17 by this team. But Toronto's got a little bit of ground to make up for as poorly as they played while RJ Barrett was out. Pirtle's a difference maker for sure, because Toronto doesn't really have a lot to back that position up in the form of being equal to like Pirtle. So couple fundamental things I could see here that favor Atlanta. I think that at this point in time, Toronto could go on another little bit of a streak here. So I didn't like either way. Game did hit 251 a couple days ago. So maybe you want to look total here. These Atlanta totals seem to go crazy a little bit.
We'll keep going down the list. Suns and Rockets. Suns are on a back-to-back. They just beat OKC. They opened up 8.5 point underdogs, still sitting right there. Totals come down from 224.5 to 222.5. Adams is questionable. Şengün is out. I mean, that could be big. Missing, 2 of those. I mean, that's kind of Houston's identity, being big, lengthy. I don't know. Grayson Allen questionable. Jalen Green out. I want to say the Rockets. Rockets at home with the rest advantage. Opponent on the back-to-back. Rockets have been really good with the rest advantage so far this season. They've covered 6 out of 7 games. You always could see somebody added to this injury report for the Suns team throughout the day. I like to think the Rockets are the right side here, Rob Veno. How do you view it?
Yeah, I kind of think so too, Ski. And I paid a little more attention to their team total here, 115.5, simply because Phoenix on back to back played OKC yesterday. Anytime you play OKC, you have to work to play them because they're relentless. So could be a bit of a fatigue with travel here for Phoenix. Rockets without Steven Adams, certainly not as good on the boards when he's in the game. Şengün brings a lot of points with him, but I just feel like Houston's got enough offense to compensate um, without Şengün short term. So I looked at Houston team total over. I think they'll get to 116 against Phoenix. Again, a lot of the stuff I went through today, Skee, really depended upon like these scheduling situations and these travel situations. I just find a few teams in bad spots, and I think Phoenix is one of them.
I agree. Guys in the chat thinking this is one you can get in early with the Rockets. I think that's good as well. Next, we have Hornets and Thunder. Thunder, the other side of that, they lost to Phoenix last night. Opened up 15, looks like 15 and a half. Total open 233. As high as 235, depending where you're looking at. For OKC, Hardenstein is questionable. Jalen Williams is doubtful, not J-Dub. For the Hornets, I mean, the usual centers or bigs are out in this game. You have Salawan, Brandon Miller, Kneppel, and Diabate all probable. I like to think, I mean, if OKC won the game last night, I could feel a little bit better at trying to think about the Hornets. But OKC off the loss, I just don't want to step in front of that train. So I know they haven't been playing the best lately, but I do know they'll be focused after losing that game yesterday. So this is when I think I'm on the sideline here. Anything from you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% with you on side there with the thought process that OKC can do damage here. They're used to winning by that type of margin, and Charlotte, we know, can lose by that type of margin without um, Charlotte having bigs. I mean, OKC is a team that attacks the rim. It probably leads to point production here out of Oklahoma City. They're one of those that can get to the high 120s fairly easily. I think some form of that, either OKC first half, OKC full game, OKC team total over. Just don't know that Charlotte's going to have enough here. The only reason I probably could trust full game total Skee over if I wanted to include both. However, if Oklahoma City is a little bit irritated by the loss yesterday, we know they can D up, and that would spell a little bit of trouble for Charlotte. So I'd rather isolate, maybe look at the OKC side where total is concerned. And if you're playing side, I don't think you could go wrong with a number of options on Oklahoma City here, half, game, quarter. I don't think it matters.
All right, next game we have Denver and Philly. There was big moves on this game. It opened up -9 for Philly, all the way out to 14 and a half or 15 total, sitting around where it opened though. Everybody, I mean, do I really gotta list everybody's out for the Nuggets? Everybody you can name in the starting lineup is out. Peyton Watson is playing. I'll say that. Bruce Brown is out there. Spencer Jones. It's gonna be tough. They don't have a lot of bodies out there for the Nuggets tonight. Embiid is probable. Oubre's out. Wofford's out. I mean, I don't like the thought of laying this big of a number with the Sixers at all. But it's hard for me to back the Nuggets too. I mean, you do know those guys who step in are going to play hard at the very least. I think if you like the Sixers, they've been pretty good first half. I don't know, Vino. I think if you like the Sixers, you take them early. Other than that, Denver might fight all the way to the end. These guys finally getting playing time are going to want to show up. We see this time and time again. Sixers first half or Nuggets full game. That's what I'm thinking. One of the two. What do you think?
It's really hard to lay that price with Philadelphia. And you just don't know what their mindset would be coming in here playing a bunch of reserves. I mean, like you say, we see this in the NBA all the time. Maybe not to this extent where you've got basically a brand new starting five, like your reserves are your starters now. And they probably only go about 7 deep quality wise here tonight. So they're going to have to play a lot of minutes. These guys haven't played a lot of minutes, so I don't know that it'll bother them. I looked at Philly's team total because I just don't see a lot of defense, especially at the rim for the Nuggets. So it could be a huge night for Joel Embiid. It could be a huge night for the rim attackers like Maxey, like Edgecombe. Um, that was the way I initially looked here. I just thought I don't want to lay the points. I don't trust Philly enough to win by 16, but I think to get to 122 here, Denver was giving it up with their starting unit. Just don't know that they won't give it up here without a lot of size on the floor here against Philadelphia tonight. So maybe a Philly team total look.
I can see that. Wonder what that number is. Let me just take a look here. Philly team total looks like 121.5. I think that is doable. All right, next game. We're going to go Utah and Portland. Opened up -7 for the Blazers, down to 6 pretty much everywhere. Total open 246, down as low as 241.5. As far as the injury report, Ace Bailey, Nurkic, both questionable. K Love, Niang, both out. For the Blazers, Robert Williams, questionable. Jeremy Grant, Scoot Henderson, Drew, Matisse Thybulle, Wesley, they're all out for that Blazers team. A couple things here, Rob Veno. The Jazz are another team who've been pretty straightforward. I mean, at home, they play very high scoring games. On the road, not so much. Right? That's pretty much how it's been for them. For this Blazers team, if I trust them to do anything lately, I want to say I trust them to play a little bit of defense. Let me pull up these numbers. Yeah, number 7 defensive rated team last 5 games. Neither team really playing with too much pace. Uh, if the Blazers are going to cover this game, I don't think it's by just lighting it up. I don't think it's by offensive outbursts. I think it's because they're playing better defense. Granted, Jazz defense has been terrible, but I just don't think you'll need that many points to win this game for the Blazers. You just need to lock in defensively. So I do lean towards the under, and I guess a slight lean towards the Blazers. Anything from you here, Vino, on Portland and Utah?
Well, as straightforward as the Jazz have been at home, Portland sidewise has been that straightforward, right? You can't play them as a favorite. You could play them as a dog. The home record, the home splits are pretty much in favor of Portland when they're a home dog, not so much when they're a favorite. But to your earlier point about under, the last 9 games Portland has played, 8 of those have stayed under this total because this is a ridiculously high 242.5 because of Utah being placed in there. But I mean, the Blazers haven't played in 9 straight games. They've only played one that approached this number against Dallas. They got to 247. Otherwise, they're not just under, they're like 10 or more points under 242. So under could be a good look here for the Blazers if you just want to use that a blanket statement under. They're 8-1 to the under, not just this number, 8-1 to the under overall last 9 games. So pretty big signal sign toward the Portland team playing unders here. I couldn't play them as a favorite though, so maybe less than 242 is the way to go there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about there was a game versus the Mavericks not
Right.
that long ago where I was thinking about the same thing. I went to back Portland's defense and they ended up covering the -2.5 and let the Mavericks go over their team total. So that's giving me a little bit of hesitation right now. But yeah, I'm looking at it. 8 of the last 10 games under for the Blazers. Jazz are 4-0 to the 4-0 to the under as a road dog their last 4. But the Blazers on the other side, 2-0 to the over as a home favorite. So I don't know, a lot of different ways to look at it. I just think it'll be slower pace, more defensive, at least for the Blazers side, and less than 242. All right, last game on the slate for today, Vino. We have Warriors and Clippers. This one opened up -1.5 for Golden State. It looks like it's still right there at 1.5. Total opened up 224. I see 225.5. As far as the injuries, you have Seth Curry and LJ Cryer out for the Warriors. For the Clippers, Derrick Jones Jr., Bogdanovich, and Niederhauser. I'm sorry, those two are both out. Niederhauser is questionable. Um, Clippers have been playing good basketball lately, Rob Veno. And then, well, I think they won 6 in a row after Ty Lue was, pretty much calling out the team. And also, Zubac had went down. There was more Brook Lopez, a little bit more floor spacing. Brook Lopez did come back in their most recent game, and they lost. I don't know if that's coincidence or what. But they lost to the Celtics in blowout fashion. It could have been just the Celtics shooting lights out, And Zubac was on a minutes limit, and the Clippers couldn't get a rebound. So it could have been a lot of different things in that game. We'll see if they can get back on track here versus the Warriors at the house. The Warriors, I feel like they've been playing solid lately, but I don't think they've been playing really any competition. And the Warriors haven't been good so far on the road. They've won 8 out of 20 games so far on the road this season. I think I like and trust more of what I've seen from the Clippers lately. And just uncertain what you're going to get from the Warriors. And I just know that they haven't been good on the road. So in this game, I'd prefer the Clipper side. How are you viewing it, Vino?
Yeah, I'm included in that group, Skee Clippers side. And, I was trying to get to it here while you were talking, but I couldn't. I just want to, if you have a shot there, look up last 10 games and see where Clippers pace or tempo has been, because I saw an interview with Kawhi.
It's dead last 5 games. I know that.
And Kawhi had said that with Zubats down, he credited some of their good play to playing quicker. So that's why I was asking about what their pace was the last 5 games. He seemed to think they were playing a little bit quicker. Now, it could be one of those Jaylen Brown situations. He's a liar, Rob Veno. Don't listen to him. Because, well, I mean, when you just put your mind to it, you think to yourself, you hear a guy say that, but you think having Brook Lopez in for Zubats, Brook Lopez is no quicker. But your point about floor spacing probably helps. I'd more trust this quote from Chris Dunn, who actually said everybody's urgency went up as a group as we looked at the calendar. We were understanding that it was starting to get not too late into the season, but we're getting into the thick of the season, and we wanted to turn things around. It seems like it's a little bit of a rejuvenated ball club here for the Clippers, and they have been scoring a little bit better than what they were previously. Obviously, old guy Walker's in tennis ball, so still last in pace by the numbers, but they seem to think it's going a little bit better. And I also saw Jeff Van Gundy credited for some differences in defensive schemes that have helped over the course of the last 2 weeks. So I see the Clippers making the necessary adjustments. I see that showing up in the results. Feel like asking them to win straight up at home, probably not too much to ask for.
All right, Vino. That's the NBA card. We got through all 8 games in about 23, 24 minutes. I think we did a pretty solid job here. So before we move it over to best bets, I didn't pull up anything to put up on the screen. And I haven't double checked what's still up. I'll do that today. So that's my bad on that. But I guess I'll just pass it to you. I ask you if there's anything you would like to promote. And if you have a best bet for the show, we'd love to hear it. If you don't, it's all good.
Promotion wise, I'll just really quick Skee say that the FCS college football championship game is tonight. I've been 6-2 in the FCS playoffs and have a best bet on that game tonight. So you can check that out over at WagerTalk.com. Like you, I don't think there's a lot of active packages site wide for WagerTalk. Maybe they'll come out with those tonight. I know there's a New Year's Day special. But for anything package-wise, go ahead and check WagerTalk.com. Best bet for the show, though, I bet the Knicks, and I like the Knicks tonight. I just thought the scheduling was tough on Detroit, the back-to-backs, having to go play Cleveland, now come back, played without Jalen Duren 2 nights in a row. Just a personal thing for me where I don't like Detroit without Duren, even though they won last night in that game. So I like the Knicks. I'm showing that line bouncing back now we've been on the show less than a half hour, and that line's gone from Knicks 1.5 to Pick'em, Detroit maybe one, and now back to Knicks -1. So I'll take that number for purposes of this show. Best bet Knicks at Detroit tonight.
All right. For myself, yeah, I'm gonna apologize, but I'm not making a bet this early today. I'm gonna wait a little bit. There are a few that I do like, um, but I just want to put them in a little bit closer to knowing who all is gonna play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll be making my plays probably about between 2 and 3 p.m. So I've told you guys throughout the show who I'm liking, what I'm looking at. Just don't want to push the button yet, and I don't like giving best bets that I don't have in my pocket. So that will be it for today. Vino, I do always appreciate you taking the time to break the games down with me. Um, Definitely helps my process. I'm sure you help everybody else out there. And we appreciate everybody out there for tuning into the show. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we'll have a nice slate. Best of luck, everybody, on all your action tonight, and we will catch you then.